Hello and welcome to Introduction to Epistemology, and today we are going to discuss the swamping problem. There is another argument that knowledge has no additional value over true belief. In our previous topic we discussed about that knowledge is more valuable than true belief, but in the swamping problem when we talk about another argument, we discussed that knowledge has no additional value over true belief, and we assume that knowledge is actually a true justified belief. So when we define knowledge, we can call it as true justified belief. And the important thing that is discussed, that why knowledge has no additional value and why we call it as true justified belief. We can see that there is a small difference between true belief and true justified belief. So if we justify the belief, then it will be called as knowledge. So justification obviously will come with a passage of knowledge that a person have. So that's another argument when we talk about swamping problem. And actually this is also discussed with a discussion between Meno and Socrates, which we call as Plato-Meno, and they are discussing about how to choose or how to go to the Larissa, which is obviously we discussed before in our previous lecture about a city in Greece. And they're discussing that Meno has discussed that that we should need someone that who will know the route, but Socrates suggests that if someone have true opinion, then the person that having true opinion can go to that place. So it means that if someone know how to go, for example, if X know how to go to that place, then Y can reach to that place with the help of X. Or another thing, when Socrates discussed, they talking about that if X want to go over there and he have the opinion, okay, that this route will go to the right direction, then the person that having true opinion can also reach to that location. So it means if someone know the location, they can also go to that place, or if someone have true opinion how to reach to that place, then that person can also reach to that direction. So that is explained in terms of Larissa. But I think to understand swamping problem, I give one example about a coffee making, and let me discuss this example which will explain to you. So if imagine that we have two great cup of coffee, imagine we have two great cup of coffee identical in every aspect. They look same, they taste same, they smell the same, the quantity is also the same, so on. So what clearly we value great cup of coffee? Actually what is talking about that, for example, these both coffees will make from the coffee making machine, from the reliable coffee making machine. So we oftenly value a good coffee rather than we value who has made the coffee. So if for example we are not aware that who is making the coffee, and for example we have two coffees, one is made by a reliable coffee machine and the other that made from someone that is expert to make a coffee manually, maybe we don't ask that who make the coffee, maybe we consider or we value a great coffee, a good taste coffee, rather than we focus or follow that who make that coffee. So that in this example when we talk about that, we value to the great coffee, to the coffee, the taste of the coffee, but we don't value it was produced by a reliable coffee machine or made by manually by someone. So that is very important. So it means that if we don't value the coffee making machine or a reliable coffee making machine, it means this does not add any additional value. So a reliable coffee machine will not add any additional value in this condition, and this is an example of the swamping problem, where we're talking about the value of the thing rather than the value of the instrument. So the coffee making machine is become more like a instrument, as I mentioned in my next slide, that coffee cup case is an example of instrumentally valuable. So it means that the machine is the instrument which is called as valuable, but we focus more on the coffee taste, or how the coffee appears, because if we have two type of coffees, one is made by instrument and another is made by manually, we may make more focus on the coffee taste or coffee how it appears, rather than the instrument, or rather than prepared by whom. So in the next slide I also mentioned that intuitively that it is better to, when we talk about belief, we're talking about a reliable true belief rather than a true belief. So we already mentioned in my previous slide that a reliable true belief is also or the justified true belief is called as knowledge, but we more believe on the reliable true belief rather than just if someone have the belief. Like the same example of the reliable coffee making machine. So for sure, intuition, we will better to have the knowledge rather than true belief, because the knowledge is justified true belief, and then with the knowledge it could also call as reliable true belief. So suppose if, for example, there are two things, like for example someone that having two identical true belief, but one belief is formed in a reliable way, but the other belief is not reliable. So which one we believe? That's my question. So I think my answer is that if someone having identical beliefs, two same belief, but one which is more reliable, then we usually go to that belief that is more reliable, rather than we believe on simple true belief. So that's the difference between two beliefs. If for example someone have two identical true belief, one is made reliably, the other one is not made reliably, we more focus on, or we more move towards a belief which is, or we more give the value to a reliable belief process rather than if someone having true belief. And that example, like for example, is if for example we have a coffee making machine, we only value to a reliable coffee that is made by a coffee making machine, but we give value to the great coffee rather than we give value to the machine. That's another thing that we discussed in our previous slide. So that is why intuitively it is better to have a reliable true belief rather than a just true belief. So thank you so much for today's lecture. Hope to see you again.